morning and welcome to another running shoe video here on my channel. So a couple of days back I got a comment on one of my videos and it was from Kevin. Kevin said, "Hi, I've been running for about 3 years. I run most days anything from 7 to 20 kilometers now, but struggle to know when to retire my shoes. Do you have a set distance? Great video, thank you." Well, thank you, Kevin. I actually sat down and just started to answer like I always do with my comments, but I figured out that this actually is such a good question that it should be a video of itself. There's actually a simple logic to the answer, and it comes down to you as a person more than anything else. Many of you might have experienced taking a shoe out for a run and then figuring out that it's too hard. It's actually not easy to realize that it's too hard, and a lot of our customers who don't follow our guidelines actually end up in this situation a lot. Sometimes this results in injury, and usually these injuries aren't taken away when you just change a pair of shoes. How long a midsole lasts usually depends on two factors: how good a midsole foam is and how much air is put into it. If you put too much air into it, the foam will become soft and it will not last for a long time. If you don't put enough air into it, it will become very firm and not give the amount of cushioning that you need. The most used foam on the market today is the EVA foam, and it's been there for ages. Shoes like the New Balance Fresh Foam has EVA foam. EVA technology has over the years become lighter and more durable, thus actually making newer shoes better than older ones. So for a long time the shoe midsole has actually been made up of two parts. So you have the harder, more cushioning bottom layer and then a top layer that gives a little bit more comfort. This has usually been the way for a long time. The last couple of years TPU foam has become a market standard as well. This foam on top on this 361 is TPU foam. TPU foam can last longer and it's bouncier, but it's also a lot heavier. A German scientist figured out that if you put TPU beads and then press them together, you would get longer lasting TPU foam. Adidas and Saucony bought this technology, and this is the Power Run Plus, which is the newest innovation from Saucony, which uses this technology. You can also see this in the new Saucony Endorphin series, where they use Pebax foam instead of TPU, but in beads still. So the foam will last longer than these shoes. Pebax is a very energy efficient foam. It's very light, but it dies out very, very quickly. And that's why they use it in racing shoes and not in the normal running shoes that much. In essence, there's a lot of things happening in the shoe world right now. But if you want a shoe that lasts for a longer time, the safest bet is to choose one of the top models and one that has a little bit of a firmer foam. Now, over to a different topic. A lot of people seem to think that the rubber outsole is the way to measure if your shoe is done or not. Have you torn it away? Have you actually removed the rubber outsole? Then it's time to get a new pair of shoes. This is not the case. The midsole is what you pay for. There's no question about this. It's the cushioning that matters. So as a rule of thumb, more midsole means more cushioning. Mostly. So I said mostly. And what I mean by that is that if you take a shoe like this, the New Balance 880, it has a 12 to 22 millimeter offset. This means that it doesn't have that much of a stack height compared to other shoes. If you compare that to the Alphafly, which has 40 millimeters in the heel, this is clearly a more cushioned shoe that will last so much more than the Alphafly. So there's always an exception to the rule, and that means if it's the wrong type of foam, or if the foam is too soft and filled with air, then it will not last a long time. So the conclusion here is that you can't always trust the data. But if you take a notice of what type of foam is actually used and talk with experts, then you might actually figure out on your own how long a shoe will last. Another great tip is to use a running app. In these type of running apps, you can actually store your gear. And I have all my gear stored on Strava, so I know exactly how long every shoe is running. That means that I can go back and check out every single shoe and see how long it lasts. And when Strava counts and sees that I get to 700 kilometers, then it will tell me and say that maybe you should try a different pair of shoes now. There's also time for a shameless plug, so you're welcome to follow me on Strava if you like. There you can see how I train. Okay, so basically I've just said that it's very subjective and you're the only one who will notice if the shoe is done or not, because it depends on weight, it depends on a lot of factors. It also depends on how rugged you are in your body and how much you can stand of the loads when you run. But there's one thing that actually can help you figure out if the shoe is done or not. And despite popular belief, this is actually not more costly. And that's having not one, but several running shoes. Now, there are so many reasons to have two pair of running shoes, so that's a different video all by itself. But if you have two pair of running shoes, then you're able to alternate between them and you can actually notice if one is worse than the other. I would always recommend having two different shoes that are not the same. That means you also get a little bit of variety when you run. Now at our store we always advise to buy two pair of running shoes. But if you can't buy two pair of running shoes at the same time, it's actually better to buy them with a little bit of time between. If you have one that's run 400 to 500 kilometers, then it's the perfect time to buy the second one. That means that both shoes will have different ending times and you can actually notice so much more when the old one is done. It's really all down to you, and I've seen so many customers who'd had a hard time figuring this out, coming with shoes that are 5 years old, thinking they were okay, and once they put a new pair on, they were just flabbergasted, in awe of how much of a difference there was between the new ones and the old ones. Having one other pair, at least, to compare with is just such a big deal. It also depends on the shoe you buy, so if you buy shoes that are top models, they have a tendency to last longer. If you buy shoes that are more the faster, lighter, softer types of shoes, then they will not last as long. If you go to a professional running store instead of just a sports store, then you can actually get a little bit of help from the guys there. They will tell you which shoes will last longer, and they will tell you which shoes are actually meant to run fast in and not be used as much for daily training. Some shoes last longer, some shoes last shorter. Just be aware what type of shoe you buy, because there's some companies who make softer shoes so they can sell more shoes to you because you wear them out quickly. There's just a lot of people who don't know when the shoe is worn out and they end up getting injuries. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to write to me in the comments down below. If not, go to your local running store and ask them, because they know, they test the shoes, they actually know which shoes last longer and which doesn't. So if you have any questions about running shoes, write to me in the comments down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want. Anyways, have a good day, have a great run, and I'll see you next time. Bye.